Without a shadow of a doubt, the Zelda franchise boasts a symphony, quite literally, of iconic, amazing music. I even got the joy of attending the Symphony of the Goddesses a few years back. However, not every single piece is perfect. In fact, there are a slim few that, if I'm honest, were kind of disappointing. Hey y'all, I'm the Geek Apprentice, and as a lot of you probably know, I like to keep things positive here on the channel, even with my unpopular opinion videos, so just rest assured, this video will be no exception to that. Y'all know my love of Koji Kondo and what he and many others composing with him have done for the music of the Legend of Zelda franchise, yet there are a few that kind of missed the mark in my opinion. This is not to be confused with songs that maybe just aren't my favorite, because there are a ton out there, so not every single one can be my favorite. I mean, sure, not every title is gonna be a masterpiece, but even if a specific theme isn't my cup of tea, 99% of the time, I'm gonna look at it and actually still appreciate it for what it did and believe that it fit that atmosphere or scene perfectly. I just might not have it on replay while jamming out in my car. There are a few, however, that I genuinely don't think were good. Now, I want to be clear, this is not a dig at the composers or even to say that I hate these pieces, not in the slightest. These are just pieces that I either expected something more or different than what was given to us. That doesn't make them bad, it just means they didn't quite live up to what I thought that atmosphere should have playing behind it. And I know many will say, oh, you mean all of Breath of the Wild? But one, you're wrong. It's your opinion, but you're wrong. And I actually have a whole video with Daniel Kapt-Bergersen where we talk about how amazingly perfect the music of Breath of the Wild was for Breath of the Wild. So just click here if you want to see that and be proven wrong. No, once again, these are just a few pieces that I thought maybe they were good just as pieces of music themselves, but for what they were trying to portray, the atmosphere they were in, they didn't fit, and I would arguably say, in my opinion, weren't that good. Anyway, let's jump into it. The accompaniment played whilst traversing the caverns of A Link Between Worlds is really cool sounding. So what's my problem with it? Well, for me, it seems as though it was too eerie for what we end up actually seeing. A Link Between Worlds has a cuter vibe to it, and there's nothing wrong with that. I love it, and it has a deep and wonderful story as well. And while there are certainly other themes in this installment which were grander or eerier, they fit their atmosphere better than this one does, in my opinion. When I hear this theme, I expect something far scarier and eerier than what we actually see. Sure, the music does, with some of its brass instruments, have a more fun vibe to it, but not enough to make it fit for me. I don't know. I mean, I love this theme, but I just feel that from my perspective, it doesn't quite fit this area, but honestly, I'm being super nitpicky and stretching a lot. Okay, the music we hear when entering a shop in Twilight Princess has this tropical, chill vibe. Does that make sense to you? I know I still somewhat pine for the sounds that the shops of Ocarina of Time and Wind Waker gave us, but still. No doubt Twilight Princess does have some funny themes such as the Malamart theme and what we hear when we're fixing the cannon, but for whatever reason, those seem to fit their respective scenery better than this one does. There's nothing wrong with the theme itself, it was composed quite well, as all Zelda music is, but I would sooner expect to hear it in a shop in Lurelin Village than a shop in Twilight Princess. Again, I like it, don't get me wrong, it just seemed like an odd choice for a shop in Twilight Princess, even when you consider Malamart and fixing the cannon. But that's just me. Okay, normally this would be the part where I'd have, quote, honorable mentions, but I guess in this case, dishonorable mentions, but I literally don't have any. Like, I was stretching it just to get 3 on this list, so let's move on to the number 1 choice. I think what is most sad and disappointing about this theme is that it starts off so good. I know the boss battle itself is meh, but seriously, that beginning with that low beat is just so good sounding. And then it's this weird piano trill that's okay-ish. But then, even after that, it goes into this majestic violin series of measures that almost sounds lighthearted. I get that it's supposed to be a grand battle, so I guess it's fitting in that sense, but it just did not match where I thought it was going based on those first few notes. I prefer the vibe of those first foreboding measures, and I think that maybe, just maybe, had they stuck with this feel, it would have counterbalanced that poor battle ever so slightly. Well, that's it for the list. Only 3, and I was really stretching it if you couldn't tell. I honestly made this video because I heard that theme for the second phase of the Calamity Ganon boss battle and thought, man, that song could have been really, really awesome. And then I had the video idea, but I was really struggling to find bad Zelda themes. Because even like I said, the ones that I don't like or just don't enjoy, I still respect them and appreciate them and think they did what was right for that atmosphere. Like, look, I'm not going to be listening to Inside Jabba Jabba's Belly anytime soon. But it's really good for what it is, if that makes sense. I don't know, but yeah, I was really stretching it for this list. And granted, I haven't had the chance to play every single Zelda game, so perhaps if I had, I could have stretched it to possibly 5. I don't know. But now I'm curious, were there any themes from The Legend of Zelda that, for you personally, just didn't seem to hit the mark for you? Or frankly, if you want to keep it positive, just tell me what your favorite themes are, because that's a very long list. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to the Geekdom. We would love to have you here. We just passed 7,000, which is pretty cool. So the thought of hitting 10,000 is now like a legitimate thought to me. Maybe it'll happen this year. I don't know. That's crazy. Thank you so much to everyone who gives me support every month via Patreon, especially those in the Hylians tier, like Joking Batman and Ryan Harvey. Y'all are amazing, and I say it every time, but I can never, ever thank you enough. Which, by the way, at the start of this year, I just redid my Patreon, made it a little bit simpler. You get, I guess, more bang for your buck, if you will. I don't know how to phrase that. It sounds weird. But yeah, if you want to check out some of the changes, you can just head on over to patreon.com/thegeekapprentice if you're so interested. But just having you here watching is enough for me. So yeah, thank you so much. But anyway, that is all for today. Thank you for watching.